Hello, hello. Hopefully you guys can now hear me. I gotta test this because there was an issue before and now I don't know if it's still an issue. So excuse me, but can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure that you can hear me. I had some technical difficulties before. So let me know if you can hear me. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to test and see if it's on my site. See if I can hear myself. Oh, you can hear me. Awesome. Okay. Can you hear Aaron? Okay. So you guys can hear me. All right. So I just got back from dinner, from having a birthday dinner with my husband. It was super nice. I know this isn't my group, so okay, good. This isn't my group, so you guys don't really know me like that. But yeah, so I just had a birthday dinner with my husband and my son and my daughter-in-law, and it was super fun. I came on here earlier and technical difficulties didn't work. But anyway, I'm just here for a quick tip of the week. Before I hit the sack, to be quite honest. The past couple weeks have been so crazy with IEPs and teams and the frustrations of special education these days, to be quite honest. I'm like, I need a vacation because I hear you guys. It's so frustrating. But I have a bunch of tips, and in my mind I was thinking, okay, I'm going to just throw up on them. I'm going to tell them all the tips and stuff like that I just know I have to give them because I want them to know. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you one tip, and then I'm going to go live tomorrow afternoon and I'm going to give you another tip. Hi. Oh no. Well, I would cancel that meeting if you feel unprepared. I'll just be very frank with you. Okay. So, and yes, you can cancel the meeting. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to be a big deal. Okay guys, so my name is Raven Woods and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. And no baby, yep, she's downstairs. She's nice and 9.5 months pregnant. But yeah, she's still here. But to be honest with you guys, even though I joke and stuff like that, the IEP stuff is something I take very seriously, and what's super frustrating is the fact that so many games are being played right now. I mean, I could write a book on this. I probably should write a book on this. But it's unfortunate, it really is. With that said, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay? So a 1 below if you're new. You've got 3 chances to be new. So post a 1 below. Tell us where you're from. We want to know. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. You guys know what to do. And type in the search bar Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and join the group. All right? All you got to do is type Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. And I'm telling you, it's one of those groups you'll never leave. I'm telling you. And it's not because it's my group, because guess what? I can't keep up with all of you. So you guys run that group, really. No, I'm just kidding. But, it's just amazing moms, on the group. It really is. So, hi guys. Hi Dana. Hi Christina. All right. We have Faye. And we have, is it Yadria? I like that. That's pretty. And Kristen, welcome. And Tara and Aaron. Tara says she has a IEP tomorrow and she feels unprepared. So for all you mamas who know me, what do I say? Don't go. And I don't mean don't go like don't go and not tell them. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you go, or you know what? Go, show up, don't talk at all. All right? So if it's your annual, Tara, just a, little bit of advice. If you're not prepared, don't talk. Don't talk.
Oh, live.
I am Sky. Have you guys noticed that's her thing now? If I'm live, it's her routine now to come in and say, hey, Mom, are you live? I'll talk to you later. That's what she says. That is her routine. She's very routine oriented. So if she hears that I'm going live, she comes in, opens the door. Mom, are you going live? Yes, Sky. Then she says, okay, talk to you later. Okay, so what I mean, Tara, is you go, you don't talk, you take notes. If you're in a one-party state, record it with otter.ai, and you want to put your phone on do not disturb, because if you get a phone call, it cuts it off. But the cool part about otter.ai is, okay, and you have to pay for it. It's $9 a month, $9.99, something like that, but it's so worth it. And you literally can, it transcribes it for you for the most part. I love it. I really do. And if you're in a one-party state, I highly encourage you to record every single meeting. And I also have what's called Rev Call Recorder. I've taught a lot of my clients how to use it, and it's amazing. And you can record phone calls. So, yeah, I'm working with someone in Iowa. That's awesome. She's in, I don't know how to say it, Des Moines. Desmoin. I don't know how to say it. It's bad, right? But anyway, you don't want to talk if you're not prepared. But you can, there's a question and you have a question to that question, or if there's a comment and you have a question, then ask that. All right. But record. And if you're in a two-party state, take notes on everything and just, I wouldn't talk. And then what you do is you go and get prepared, and then you have that information that they all spoke about. And before you leave, you specifically say, especially if you've recorded, you say on record, don't tell them you're recording. You don't have to in a one-party state, but you want to say on record, I just wanted to let you guys know I appreciate everything that you all spoke about today. However, I don't agree with everything. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to think about it. And I'm going to get back to you in the next 3 to 5 business days. And then we'll have a conversation, and we may end up back here at the table having a discussion even further. And it's shocked the shit out of them, but that's what you should do, you know? So don't talk. You don't have to talk. But when you leave, you say, I just want to let you guys know, I appreciate you having a conversation and talking about my son. I took in the information, and in 3 to 5 business days, you will be hearing from me, and I will let you know what my thoughts are. All right. So that you can even say something along the lines of, so that I can participate as an adequate and appropriate equal team member. I will be in touch so that you can hear my input. But I wanted to really take in what you guys had to say today, and I will be in touch. They will be so shocked, Tara. Because that's a good thing. They know they have to get your opinion, and they have to get your thought process. And if you don't talk, they think they're just, this was an easy IEP, right? So, yeah, that's a hard one. You don't talk, okay? Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about something real quick, all right? And it's something that I had to pick and choose. You guys know I can talk IEP stuff. So I had to say, okay, Raven, what do you want to talk about today? And honestly, I just want you guys to know that there are so many different things that you can, how should I say it? That you can really mess up on when it comes to the IEP. All right? So I say, plan for your IEP to flow, right? Well, let me tell you something. Recently, and I've done lives on this before, and I will say this, and I love going live here on the page because I know educators are watching me from the districts, because you know how on Facebook, like, you can tell who looked you up because they like show up as like people you may know or something like that. So it's funny how when I email an IEP team for the first time, like all of a sudden I see their faces show up as people who I may know because they had looked me up. So, one of the things that pluck my last nerve is when school systems will send agendas. So don't ever send me an agenda. Ever. Let me tell you why. Okay, the schools will say, and this is the funny part, is they will say, "Oh, well, it's our policy, or it's what we do." This one school system called it something else, and then they sent me because I said don't send me an agenda, and they they sent me their like write up, not on letterhead, because guess what? They can't put it on letterhead because they wrote it, and it's not a policy and it's not a state law in any state. No state requires the school system to send agendas. Let me tell you, this agenda, I mean, I give it to them. I do. I give that to them. They sent me an agenda. Now, had I fallen for it, they'd have controlled the whole damn meeting. So 5 minutes, okay? So in the beginning, we got 5 minutes to introduce ourselves. 5 minutes. Then it was another 5 minutes to talk about the parents' concerns. Oh, yeah, it said this stuff. What was the other thing? Oh, we had 15 minutes to talk about the IEP concerns. And then it was, I think it was 20 minutes. I'm not looking at it, guys. But it was like 20 minutes. It was an hour altogether. Okay, my IEPs are 3 hours. I never go to an IEP meeting that is not 3 hours. Okay? Never has one of my meetings with my clients or myself been less than 3 hours. Ever. So, I've actually myself been in, my longest IEP meeting was my own, and it was 8 hours. 8.
Mom, I'll
Okay?
go back. I'd hug.
Okay. Give me a hug.
Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow morning. So, 8 hours. And, yeah, that was one hell of a meeting. My average for mine, 3 to 4. But for my clients, 3 hours. All right? And you do not accept an agenda. Number 1, you are equal team members, okay? Every one of those educators and yourself, an educator, are equal team members, meaning them nor you are any more important than the other. Them nor you can do anything without the other. Oh my gosh, that's called a team. So, when teams work together, teams don't work alone. They work together. So, an agenda that you did not participate in making was done what? Not as a team. So, they went and decided, oh, we're going to give 5 minutes for this, 10 minutes for this, 5 minutes for that. And then we're going to send it to the parent and say, here you go, here's the agenda. This is how things are going to flow. And so I then email back and say, this agenda is not going to be adhered to. I appreciate a flow. I do. But no way, shape, or form are you going to dictate when I talk, how I talk, what I talk about, and for how long. Not happening. Ever. And it shouldn't happen to you either. How many times have parents said, even yourself, oh my gosh, I didn't get out what I needed to get out. They rushed me. They made me feel awkward. I was stuck, like I couldn't get it out. You know, I felt nervous. I felt overwhelmed. I was intimidated. I mean, there was all these people and then there was me, and I just felt so nervous. I didn't know what to do. And I was angry, and then I left angry, and you feel all these different emotions, and it just doesn't come out right or however you wanted it to say or how you wanted it to say, and it's frustrating. All right? That is why you have to set precedents from the get-go. You do not allow them to dictate to you how it's going to be. It is a team thing, okay? So do not be afraid to write back like I do, and I say, I will not adhere to your agenda. It will never, ever be followed. You do not get to dictate to me what I say, how I say it, for how long, etc. That won't happen. And then I state, it is not law and it is not policy. Now, this one school sent back to me and said, oh yeah, this is our law. This isn't our something rules, or I don't even remember what the hell they said. I said, really? That's funny, because I just looked it up on your website. Nowhere was it to be found that an agenda has to be attached, and that's how an IEP should go. Because from what I know, is an agenda with times and when someone can talk and what it's going to be about. That is actually called a facilitated IEP meeting, and that is done by the state. So in no way are you the state. You are a district. You are a team member, just like me. And we are going to work as a team. And if you'd like, we can create a flow. And so this is what I do. So I say, here's what I would like to discuss. So I put down what the parents and I are going to be discussing. All right, if it was just me, it would be what I wanted to talk about. All right, and then I send it to them. Please add anything that you want to discuss as well. So then guess what? I added what I wanted to add, and then I welcomed them to add what they wanted to add. But in no way did I put a time frame that they can talk, or would I ever do that? I just think that's just rude. And it sets the tone for the meeting from the get-go. And it's not okay. So don't allow it to happen to you. Okay? Do not allow it to happen to you. You know, I listen all the time to parents of how they're bullied and how things are happening, and they're just getting one over on you over and over and over and over. And I cannot tell you enough that you've got to put on that face. And you've got to understand that you have to change how you may typically be, how you would typically respond, how you would typically be nice and polite and cordial and gentle in your response, and have a communication and it flow and it not feel weird, and you know, that sort of thing. This is not how that is. You have to set the tone, and I never set the tone in a super friendly way. I do it on purpose, because if I set the tone in a way that they felt that they could bully me, then I wouldn't be where I was today. Things have to get done in an IEP meeting. It doesn't mean be rude. It just means you don't have to be friendly. And why? Because we're not friends. It's a business relationship. Business is business. Okay? Business isn't, hey, let's go to lunch, let's chit chat. It's business. All right? The business is to get your child what's needed and appropriate. No joking around, no playing around. So what that means is when I send an email, I say it with, I guess I'm pretty darn assertive about it. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is what we need to do. Let me know what's a good date and time for you. Here's a couple dates. Pick one. If they don't work, let me know some that work for you. But it's not a questioned kind of thing where, is this okay if we do this? Is it okay if I do that? Can I say that? Can I say this? No. This is about your child, all right? And you have to know what you are doing, all right? And you cannot be afraid to quote the law. You can't be afraid to state your stance. You can't be afraid to allow yourself to be bullied. I'm kind of at the point now where I've seen this so much now that you all have to step up, all right? Stop being bullied. So if you get bullied, it's your fault, all right? Because you're allowing it to happen. So how I was brought up is we all make choices, all right? That doesn't mean you have to know everything. Not saying that. What I'm saying is if you choose to be bullied by the school, don't go crying to someone else later. You have to choose to not be bullied, to not stand around and allow that to happen, and allow things to happen to your child because you don't want to say anything. Now, There's people who do say things, and I talk to them too. Hold on. All right. So there is parents that I talk to where they have said to me, I've done everything. I listened to you. I've told them, that I am not going to allow them to not teach my child reading, that they need to give my child direct reading instruction, that my child is falling behind in math, that this is really frustrating because my child is not getting everything that they need. And so I say, well, what's going on? And I never, all you guys that know me will know that I will say, I cannot give over the phone 100% information because I don't know your child yet. I haven't seen their paperwork. I like to see, I'm a data-driven girl. So I got to see their last evaluations. I got to see their last 2, maybe 3 years IEPs. I got to see, their progress reports and their goals and all these different things. And then what do? Look, I'm going to give you tomorrow's tip. Here I go. Is what do? I compare. And that's how I figure it out. All right? Because I know what I'm looking at. And so I look at one IEP compared to the other. I looked at that IEP compared to the progress report. I look at that IEP compared to the evaluations. Do the evaluations add up to what's in the present levels? Is what in the present levels is making the goals? Is what's in the present levels making the services? Is what in the present levels making the accommodations and modifications? Are the present levels right? When were the last evaluations? Is this IEP adequate in any way? And then I am on a roll, okay? At that point is when I can really put the picture together, all right? And talking with a parent and really figuring it out myself. That's right, hunt and gather. When I work with parents, I'm listening to them as I'm studying their stuff, and I'm able to put things together. But there's so many different pieces that I'm looking at to put the picture together, because guess what? Those red flags start coming down. They just start falling off trees. And I'm like, oh my God, And I spoke with a parent today, and I was telling her, we have spoken for a while. She's one of my clients. We finally did our 4-hour IEP makeover today. And I love her. And, but when we spoke, here's what's funny, is I was on the Peloton, all right, riding my bike. And I had turned the music down and everything because I was talking to her, and I never have a chance to work out and talk. And I want to talk, and I wanted to call her back. So anyway, I called her back while I was on the freaking bike, and we had this conversation. And I say to her, so what's up? You've been calling, and, you told me that you were, really frustrated and you didn't know what was going on. And so anyway, she starts talking, and everything that she said was not something I was concerned about. I kept asking myself, why is she calling me? And I told her this today. And I was like, why is she calling me? Her daughter's doing great in school. She has great grades. She has straight A's. She has this. She has autism, and she's doing great. So I'm like, why is she calling me? You know what I mean? And in my mind, I'm thinking this at the moment. I really was. And, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't. And so, because she said she had great grades, she just had behavior issues. So she was now in a different school. She was kicked out and that sort of thing. But things were going good. Well, so in my mind, I'm like, well, then if things are going good, why are you calling me? Not that you can't call me, but in my mind, I was like, well, why are you calling me? And she was like, because I just don't feel like something's right. Okay. So that I listened to even more, even though everything she said sounded great. Great. Okay. We're talking about a child, and I saw the report card today. A's and 1 B. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So I started looking at things today because we did our makeover today. So I'm like, and it all came together. And it hit me as I'm looking. I'm going through the IEP. You guys know, I talk about this all the time, page by page. And I couldn't believe it. And I said to Mom, I told her that story. I said, I was on the Peloton, and she knew I was on the bike. But you know, I said I was on the Peloton and, you know, I was talking to you and I didn't really know why you called me because everything was good about her. You know, she was making good grades and, you know, so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is awesome. She has autism and, you know, she has ADHD and she's got these great grades and she's doing great, you know? But still, I had that big question mark in my head of like, why is she calling me? And then at the end, she said, well, I just had this gut feeling that something wasn't right. Well, that I listen to always. So anyway, when we talked today and I told her this story, and I told her the story before I said to her, this is pretty bad. Because I had been pretty quiet in looking at all of the documents because I really wanted to study them because it was not one of those things that just popped out. And there was only one evaluation that they just recently did that it was shit. I mean, horrible. And then the last evaluation, the triennial that should have happened, they didn't do. So her last evaluation was the 2015, which doesn't mean anything anymore. So I'm sitting here looking at a child that, in looking at her present levels, here's the crazy thing, is I don't know because I only had one evaluation that was shit to go off of. But I'm not 100% if those present levels are 100%. So I'm going to have to ask for an IE for the child. But here's the crazy thing, is those present levels were good. They were really good. But you know, the goals didn't match it at all. And in the present levels, I learned that, okay, everything in the present levels, and you'll get this. You guys will get this, Kim and Aaron and everybody that knows me really well, okay? This is what they said. They said, at the child's level, she read a paragraph and did XYZ, okay? And at the child's level, she wrote blah, 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 right? At the child's level, she did da, 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 right? Well, no wonder she was making straight A's, because what the hell's the level? What level? Tell me what level. You don't get to put at the child's level. How is that direct? How is that to the point? How is that telling somebody what the child's present level is when you're saying at the child's level? That's so vague. Means nothing to me. Tells me nothing about the child. So, being an educator, I had already talked to the little girl, and she was there. And let me tell you, I'll tell you a funny story. So she comes to the computer on the Zoom, all right? She's 14, and, you know, has autism and ADHD, but not, the autism is not, let's just say she can communicate very well, all right? How it comes in and stuff, and, you know, the repetition is there and all of that kind of stuff, but the girl can communicate. So this is the first question she asked me. She said, have you ever gotten a ticket? And I said, yes, I have. And she said, so who pulled you over? I said, a police officer. And she said, oh, was he nice? I said, yes, he was really nice. And do you know why I engaged in conversation with her? I had no problems telling her I'd been pulled over. And I had no problems telling her when I was in my 20s I had a horrible record because I was a bad driver. Well, I was really a bad driver, I just bet. So, we're having this is our first conversation. But what am I doing? I'm taking part in this conversation, being completely transparent with this 14-year-old because I wanted to get to know her. I wanted to know What does she know? All right. What level is she on? So as we went through how I had a bad driving record when I was in my 20s and I got pulled over and I had, my insurance went up, and then she asked me, how long it's been since I got my last ticket. I said, gosh, it's been many years, I don't have anything on my record. But she thought it was funny that, my record in my 20s was not so great, and, she wanted to know who pulled me over and what they did, and, just the repetitious questions. So anyway, and the question, is that a first question that you ask somebody normally? No. Did I care? No, I didn't at all. And, but I wanted to take part in that conversation. I really did. Mom was off printing something off for me and filling out a questionnaire. And I was having this conversation. And so then Mom and I said, I got to know where she's at. So I sent addition and subtraction problems to Mom, and I said, have her do these as I was on the computer. And so she did. And the child's on a first grade level in some, she's 14, on a first grade level in some areas. She's on a second and third grade level in other areas. So no wonder that school system said on the child's level. So the whole time, Mom is thinking she's getting straight A's, she's doing great. Behaviors are not as increased as when she was in the district school. She's now in a private school because the school had kicked her out. And so that was a concern for me when Mom first told me that, but then all of a sudden she was getting straight A's and everything was fine. So that's where the issues started coming up, and I realized, whoa, this school has totally failed this family. This child is not being provided faith, being 14 and on the level she's at. And I told Mom, good for her, because I told her straight up, I said, this is what's happened. I said, you went with your gut. You knew something was wrong. But how you explained it to me did not portray that. It didn't say that. But I said, you went with your gut and still went for it anyway. And I said, that's probably what's happened with the school system. You've tried to voice yourself. You've tried to say things. And what did she tell me? She said they ignored her. They bullied her. They just told her she needed to sign and that's all they could do. And she just accepted it because she trusted them. And, she had voiced how she felt. She had voiced that something wasn't right. But nobody listened. And so that's why it's so important to, one, create a flow in your IEP meetings. Know what you want to talk about. Know what you want to address. All right? Know what you're looking at so that you know how to come into an IEP and address what you need to address. All right? The other day, I had an IEP meeting and I went after the jugular with this speech therapist. I had it. I'm going to tell you that story tomorrow. But, I think this is the first time I really went for it. I didn't care at that point. With what happened, I did not care. Because how I looked at it is whatever it was that I said to this speech therapist is nothing compared to what this speech therapist did to this child. Nothing. So the fact that she couldn't even stand up to me, she had nothing to say. She could not tell me why she had 7 pages of deficits on a child and had 4 sentences of a summary with no recommendations and 2 goals that had nothing to do with the 7 deficits or the 7 pages of deficits. Unacceptable. And then what she said to justify it, even worse. So you have to just create a flow. Write it on a piece of paper. It's so hard. People say, well, how do I know how to do what you do? Sometimes it's watching somebody. Sometimes it's just hearing it. Sometimes it's just practice makes perfect. But, you know, it's one of those things where you just have to figure it out, you know? And yes, seeing it helps, you know? But you cannot allow yourself to be bullied, bossed around, or and one thing, don't be gullible. Don't believe everything that is said to you, okay? I can't tell you how many times, I say this all the time, I can't tell you how many times, but I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, well, the school said this. I said, I don't care what they said, they're full of shit, which is true. True. It is true, okay? They are full of it. I'm not saying all school systems, people, all right? I'm saying most. At least all the ones I talk to. And I've been in IEP meetings almost every freaking day. All right? This is the first week. I only have one IEP. I think there's one. Hold on, let me look. Yeah. I have one IEP this week. Thank God. Thank God. But normally it's been 4 to 6 IEP meetings each week. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, what is going on? You know, another thing in this IEP that I found today is, and here's the worst part, this one's in my state. So if you don't think I'm going after them, they're sadly mistaken. And they know exactly who I am. And I even referenced the state compliance officer because I know her really well. She knows me really well. Because I will not tolerate a parent to be bullied like this parent. Well, it happens all the time to most of you. And I'm so over it. Is anybody else? Is it just me? Because it's overwhelming how much this is happening. And if it's not happening to you, give me a call and or post it here. Tell me a happy story. Because it's awful right now. Awful. And, you know, in this IEP of this mom's that I looked at today, it had virtual learning IEP. What the hell is that? There's no such thing, guys. Okay? If anything, and your IEP says virtual learning IEP, as if it's different than the IEP that is in play, it's not. It is not. There's no such thing as a virtual learning IEP. Okay? The IEP is the IEP is the IEP. There's only one. There's not 2 or 4. There's not one for the cold weather. There's not one for the hot weather. There's not one for summer. And there's not one for, you know, when you learn online. There's not. There's one IEP that includes summer, okay? That includes virtual learning, okay? But unless you want it to change, it doesn't change. All of those services and accommodations and modifications that were in your IEP when COVID happened should still be in your IEP now, unless you had an annual and you decided to change it. Nothing should go awry. Is it difficult? Is it a difficult time? Is it difficult for the teachers? Is it difficult for your kids? Is it difficult for you? Oh yeah. But should anything change in the IEP? No, unless your child no longer needs it. But nothing should change unless it's necessary. It should not change because of COVID. Okay? It should only change if your child no longer needs the services, accommodation, or modification. That's it. They must include the summer? Yes, of course they do. Of course. Yeah, Cam, that's right. So you have to include summer. If any of your IEPs say no, that checkbox, you know, there's like a yes or no. Well, in some states, they actually got smart. Maybe I spoke enough to them and yelled at them long enough that they changed it. No, I'm just kidding. It should say to be determined or nothing at all. It shouldn't be checked yes. It shouldn't be checked no. To be determined. Or put a little note. We will be discussing it in April of every year. Whatever. But you can't say yes if, well, okay, let me take that back. My child's, and I know many children, says yes because there's a history. So if there's enough of a history where a child is prone to regression or anything else, behaviors, etc., during the summer for ESY, then usually it just is checked yes because it's an ongoing. All right. For children that it's just not known, then it should say to be determined or not have anything checked, because you can't say no when you don't know. Okay? You can't say no in September for something that is the next year in the summer. You know? That's a predetermination. You can't do that. So you have to think about things and think about what, and if they tell you, no, we have to check one of them and he doesn't need it right now. Say, no, you don't have to check one of them. There is no law or regulation or anything of the such that says you have to check the box yes or no under ESY. Show me where it says that. If they say that, show it to me. I want to see it. Okay? If they say to you that something, oh, that has to happen, okay, show me, prove it to me. Show me in writing that that has to be done. Seriously. Just like I said to that one team that she said, oh, I'm certified in reading instruction and reading intervention, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And the director of special education sent me her certificate of attendance and then put into the email that it was a certification. Oh, yeah, that happened. Do you guys remember that story? All right. Always ask for proof. Always. You don't know these people like that. Always ask for proof. If someone's claiming something, make them show you. Have them show you. Okay? All right. As you know, it's BS here in California. I love the passion you have for getting that. Thank you, Aaron. They just talk and say things to a piece. They do. They sure do. And I guess I'm just one of those advocates that always talk shit because, you know, I'm just going to tell you how it is. That's just what I'm going to do. I am just so, I wish that it was better, you know? I wish that, of course, I want to help parents and, you know, that sort of thing. But I wish it didn't cause so much heartache and pain. You know, I wish that, you know, at the end of the day, the children are the ones who suffer, even though us parents go through hell right along with them, you know? So if there's any happy stories out there, I'd be happy to hear them and tell about them because it's really, really bad right now. Bad in the special education world. I cannot speak for Gen Ed, children with no disabilities, because my two older children are grown. But I can definitely speak to you about special education. And it's not good. So I want you guys to stick up for yourselves. I want you guys to go with your gut, like this mom did. She had no idea what her gut was telling her. No idea. And I respect her for that. I really respect her for that. That she had no idea what her gut was telling her. She just knew something wasn't right. Have you guys ever felt that way? I know I have. And gosh, I respect her for that. Because she was willing to come to me and say all of the things she said, which were wonderful about her child. Making me think that nothing was wrong, but also question something's going on, because why would she call me? Even though I was asking myself, why would she call me? And, then in the end, she said she went with her gut. And so I had to run with that, because I've said it to you before. Very rarely are parents wrong when they go with their gut. They may not know what it is, and I may not know right away what it is, but we're going to find out. And when we do, boy, is it an eye-opener, because they had no idea. They just knew something wasn't right, just like she did. She couldn't believe it, and had no idea what grade level, had no idea that she was so far behind. And that's heartbreaking, not being told these things from the people who are supposed to be teaching our children. And that's unfortunate. Really is. And, I felt sad for that today. But I felt happy for the fact that we're going to fix it. And this school will not do that again. And that's what needs to start happening all over the United States, because it's happening all over the United States. All right. Okay. So going back to recapping, when I say create a flow, all right, in your IEP, in your meeting, and with everything pertaining to your situation, your child, and what's going on, you want to create a plan, all right, of what am I going into this IEP meeting to do? What is my purpose? What is my purpose, and what is the outcome of what I want to happen? What could happen? What is the result? And, what is it that I want my child to learn? What is it that, is going to be best for my child to meet their needs? And, it's one of those things where it's hard to always gauge that. It is. But at the same time, you have to try. And when you create a flow, it creates a focus for you. And if you're in a one-party state, I cannot tell you enough. Record, 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 record. Because that is what has saved me sometimes, where I can go back and I listen to that recording, and then I press stop, and then I take some notes, and then I listen to it again for another minute or two, and then I take some notes. I know. Think about that for 2 hours, but that's what I do. All right. Do I do it in one big thing? No, but I listen to that recording actually in 2-minute increments the whole way through, and then I do it again and again. I do it at least 3 times, 2 to 3 times, sometimes 4, depending. But you always come up with something new, And if you're in a 2-party state, let them know you're recording. All right? And here's the funny thing about recording. When you're in the heat of it all, people forget that you're recording. And things still come out. All right? They do. So I can't even tell you the things that I still have on recording that I saved in my Dropbox. I mean, the stuff that came out of the director's mouth will make you fall out of your chair. And everybody knew I was recording, and I'm in a one-party state, and I didn't even say anything, but we know that they knew I recorded. Because I would go quote things all the time. This is what you said, da-da-da-da-da, at 8:04 a.m. You know what I mean? And so you need to make sure that you have a flow for yourself, if anything. If not, going back and forth with creating a flow with the team, at least for yourself. So you have a purpose, and that purpose has a result, okay? And an action or a plan or something that is a verb, okay? So that something's going to get done, all right? So more tomorrow. Hi, Marlene. How are you? School testified at my last due process that I was aggressive at IEP Meeting, aka confident. Sorry, not sorry. Dear God, I don't know what they say about me. Alethea, where have you been all my life? You're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Nilda. How are you? All right. Who else we got on here? Oh, and if you're catching the replay, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. All right? Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay? And we will go from there. All right? So, make sure you tell me also where you're from. All right? So, how did that email go, Christina? You have to tell me about that. I'm curious. So make sure you post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. And make sure you stick in the search bar Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and join the group if you haven't joined the group. You'll love it. I promise. Okay? It's where moms hang out and you actually don't get a lot of me all the time. I mean, I can't keep up with almost 7,000 people. So you guys kind of run that group. But I got you. All right? I got my back end people hanging out there with you too, but I want you guys to enjoy the group, enjoy each other, enjoy having the support from other parents, and having, something in common to talk about, So yes. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hi, Stacy. And Karina, hello. That's right. All right. Okay, so thanks for all y'all's comments. And okay, we got Lori. Hello. Raytown. All right. And Tracy. Christina said she is getting a hold of Special Education District. I will get a response in a few days. So you sent it and you CC'd the Director of Special Education, right? Or sent it to her? Hello, Shonda. How are you? Hello, Cheryl. Welcome. Yes, we have tons of grandmothers, Cheryl. So welcome. Shonda's from New Jersey. Awesome. Yes. All right. So, all right. All right, guys. You guys are awesome. All right. I will talk to you guys soon. New here from North Carolina. Welcome. And Christina says yes, and the principal. Good job. Awesome. I can't wait to hear what they got to say. What is that, Aaron? WA me message. What is all that? All right. Good luck online. Put in a question. All right. Oh, Aaron. This is a first. You are never wrong. No. No, it is 41 states now. 41. That's right. I am on my way to that 50 before the half of the 2021 year is over. My goal, guys, for those of you who don't know, was to do all 50 states by the end of 2021. And I'm like, got 9 to go. So I got this. All right. But seriously, I mean, it's really not about all 50 states. It's about, this, what you go through, you're not alone, because it's going on in all 50 damn states, all of them. All right. So, of course there is worse states than the others. There is. I will say that. But I will say there's something to be said about that California class action lawsuit. I can promise you that. All right? It did not happen in one of the biggest states. Okay, Texas is next. That's the biggest state. What, Alaska and then Texas. But Texas is next. All right? Because, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know who's next. But California, for a bunch of parents in the same state to sue the damn governor of the state, all right, and the districts. I mean, in the write-up, I mean, it's freaking amazing. I mean, in the you got every freaking school district in California. Do you know how many school districts are in California? This class action lawsuit is insane. I mean, it takes, I was scrolling. I want to say I got through like 40 pages before I finished just the schools of who they were complaining about. It was crazy. And then they won, and what did they win? Well, it's the main. I don't care what they won monetarily. What I care about is that services, accommodations, modifications cannot not be delivered to your child. Whether you're virtual, in school, sitting in the middle of the road learning, I don't care. It's got to be given to your child. All right? So, and California hasn't been in school, y'all. I mean, you know how some of our schools, like we've been in hybrid, we've been in school, we've been out of school, you know, kind of all over the place. California has not been in school since last March. Okay? So, and they're not doing testing in school. They're not doing anything. So parents had it, and the rest is history. Good for them. Good for them. Because it's like that Andrew versus Douglas case from 2017, where in the Supreme Court they won, and it was in regards to their child making diminished progress, among other things. And diminished progress meaning very little, zero, almost, progress. And it's just not allowed anymore. Schools can't say, oh, they're making progress. It's little, but they're making progress. Now, granted, as moms, we know our children have special needs. They're going to go slower. But there's a difference between slow and staying on the same grade level, but going up a little bit. Kind of like that DRA, where if they're like, oh, they're on level A, but by the end of the school year, they're on level C. They made some progress. No, I don't think so. All right. We are in the last county before we hit Arizona. Where do we inquire about the class action lawsuit here? There's links. I posted them a while ago, but Erin has some copies as well. But yeah. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget to join the group, Autism on Rocks IEP group, in the search bar. Post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.